It is NFL. Is it wild card stats still? No, right? What do they call this?
No, it's well, that's a good question. What is
Is
it?
it,
The
I guess, divisional?
divisional? Yeah,
So
yeah.
divisional series. So as of right now, as if this recording, the Cowboys and Niners are still playing. They're tied 9-9. It's in the third quarter, 5:58 left in that quarter. But three other games are in the books. This is a sweep the league. Rudy Campos Jr. stats here. We have a bunch of Cowboy fans. So, of course, the staff is on Cowboy high alert right now. So, definitely they are watching the game. They bounced for tonight. But since you're a Buccaneers fan, I'm a Falcons fan, we have nothing to lose because our seasons have been over for at least a week. Yours was. Mine is over a
The
couple of
Buck
weeks.
season's been over since it started, man.
Pretty much, the season that they have had, pretty much.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a lot about the NFL. We're going to get into also Dejounte Murray talk with the San Antonio Spurs. We're going to make this a pretty quick episode. Like I said, it's football night in America, so we're trying to get all of our stuff done here. This is Sweep the League. Again, before we get on any further, Sweep the League comes to you every single Sunday night. We dropped a little bit of episodes throughout the week as well. We're going to be sprinkling some throughout the week. Got a lot of great guests lined up. We've got Daniel Kelly from first round mock. They do a lot of NFL mock drafts. I've been doing a lot of NFL mock drafts, a lot of prospecting and all that stuff too. So definitely going to get into all that with them. A lot of his writers are going to be on. Also, Stats has some guests lined up, but we'll get everything announced. So we're going to probably sprinkle those episodes, kind of quick hits throughout the week. But tonight it is Stats and myself. It is Sweep the League. Last reminder, Shmaya on the Beats Internet Radio. Go check that out. I am Refocus Radio, where podcasts are available. Check that out. Tons and tons of guests. Not only that, the We Got Next podcast with Derek Urban and Paul McKeskey. Also, don't forget Baller Boys podcast with Stats and Shemaya. Again, this is Sweep the League. So, man, we're just gonna get right into it because, like we said right now, the game as of right now, the game is still going. It's 9-9. I think all the candles that were lit for Brett Maher. How do you say his name? Brett Maher.
Maher.
Maher. Okay,
Isn't
Brett
it
Maher.
Maher?
Maher.
Maher.
Maher,
Maher.
miss field goal, whatever you want to call it. All the candles that were lit actually benefited because he hit a field goal. I think it was a 25-yard field goal. Nonetheless, man, we'll start with the first game here. The only true blowout of the weekend was Philadelphia and the Giants. I think a lot of people had the Giants to come out and play better than what they did, but it's got to be more to Philly just being that damn good. I think. I mean, Jalen Hurts looked really good. The Philly defense was on point. The offense was just balling. Was it a bad Giants team, or was it just Philly just that good?
I think this is a Philly is just that damn good type of game, man.
It's got to. I mean, I think I have to agree with you on that because it's kind of like, well, I don't know, man. Are they unstoppable? I mean, just after a Giants game, or is it the Giants beat a really good? Well, I'm gonna say it back. My Super Bowl pick was the Vikings beginning of the season. That lasted all but 1 week, but they played the Vikings. Vikings have been suspect. Kirk Cousins has been suspect since for his entire career. So was it just kind of a fluke that the Giants came in and just walled the Vikings and came into Philly and just literally didn't stand a chance?
Well, I think the Giants had a legit shot against the Vikings just because the Vikings, who are who we thought they were, they are choke artists, unfortunately, and I feel bad for Vikings fans because they have to deal with that crap. And it's frustrating. The team should be doing better, and they just find ways, man. The Vikings are just so inconsistent. You could probably trust a fraudster, like a known fraudster, more than the Vikings. Um,
Really?
I,
Really? You went
yeah,
Denny.
I'm
You
joking.
went. You went Denny Green on us a little while ago. They are who they thought they were.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I mean, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. We don't have any reason not to believe they're going to be back in New York. Saquon already kind of said he's not going to reset the running back market, so he's not looking for a massive contract. Daniel Jones played his way into a contract, but a part of me thinks that Daniel Jones may even bail on the Giants. I mean, could you imagine the season that Danny Dimes had? Imagine behind, an Indianapolis Colts line that's actually pretty good with, Jonathan Taylor, some good receivers there. I mean, I think he'd excel there, but I fully believe he's going to be back in New York. I don't think there's any reason to not believe that the Giants are going to bring both of them back.
Absolutely. I think there were already talks like a few weeks ago of them being approached, potentially being approached for contract extensions. I think the team wants both of those guys back. Mad props to Danny Dimes, man. He really proved himself this season. New head coach, new system, weak spots all over the place. A lot of people forget, man, this Giants team has been hurt a lot this season. There's a lot of injuries all over the place on the offensive end, especially. So it's pretty impressive what they've been able to do. And I think Dable should be the coach of the year. I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but I want to keep saying it because I think he deserves it. Because we didn't just witness a team overachieve. We have witnessed a culture change from up and down, all the way from the top down to the bottom of an entire franchise. And I think the fact that Dable was able to do that, is incredible. You don't really see an entire locker room, an entire organization change, and just the vibe overall change so quickly. You in today's game where there's like rebuilds and that often take a few years. But yeah, very impressive. But if we're gonna stick with the this Eagles Giants game, man, I had the Eagles winning this game, and it wasn't really too surprising. This Eagles team is stacked. Hurts deserves all the praise. He's acquiring right now. And here's the thing, though. People were kind of picking the Giants to like upset the Eagles, but the Giants had a lot of missing pieces on offense. They need receivers really bad on that team. Their O-line could be better. And if you noticed, Danny Dimes and Saquon just torched the Vikings on the ground in that last game. And that was the Vikings' Achilles heel. Attack him from the ground because their run defense was suspect. And of course, that's what Brian Dable and the Giants did. They attacked him on the ground and they took advantage of that and they escaped to Minnesota with that W. But here's the thing, the Eagles defense, everyone talks about the offense. This Eagles defense is elite. They have one of the best pass defenses. They have one of the best run defenses. And again, I go back to that Vikings game against the Giants. The Giants took advantage of an Achilles heel on that Vikings team. The Eagles don't have a lot of Achilles heels. And if they were able to plug up the run game, to me, that was the key for the Eagles. The stout run defense, plugging up the Giants and holding them and preventing the offense from really clicking and having long sustaining drives. That was the key. And the Eagles took advantage of that weak spot on the Giants.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, that's what I think. The Vikings, they were really sus when it came to the running game, and Danny Dimes and Saquon took advantage of that. And you're gonna hear some noise in the background. My wife is a huge Cowboys fan, so if you hear screaming in the background, that's perfectly fine. It's part of the sports world. I mean, we're a sports show, so it's part of the sports world. So I think I really think that Danny Dimes and Saquon come back. I mean, I think they're going to be Giants, but you brought it, 100% there when it came to the Eagles, man, because the Eagles looked, unstoppable on both sides of the ball. And it kind of makes me wonder. So you've got the Cowboys, you've got the Niners who are going right now. Again, it's 9-9, minute in the third as we are on this podcast. And it's kind of like, do either one of these teams, Niners or Cowboys, have a shot against the Eagles if the Eagles play that way? That's my question. Is the Eagles look so good? Is there any possibility that either one of these teams could win? I don't think so. Because Brock Purdy's going in. If the Niners end up winning, Brock Purdy's going into a divisional championship game. It's the NFC championship game. And the thing is he going to struggle? I mean, he's going to be playing. he's going to be playing against another elite defense. The Cowboys defense is elite. He's going to go up against another elite defense, but this time it just seems like the Eagles swarm around the quarterback in that they make him so uncomfortable. Mr. Irrelevant might be Mr. Turnover prone.
Yeah. I don't see anyone in the NFC toppling the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl. I do think the Niners give them more of a challenge than the Cowboys do. Tony Pollard left this game, by the way, with an ankle injury, and that is a brutal loss for this Cowboys offense. I think we've talked high praise about Pollard. To me, he's the key on this team, and like we both talked about how important he is on this offense, and him being out really really hurts the Cowboys. But I don't see anyone in the NFC beating this Eagles team. They're just so stacked on both sides of the ball. They're well coached. The offense is clicking. They can attack you in the air. They can attack you on the ground. And that's not even including all the stuff Hurts can do with his feet anyway. The ground game is already good with Gainwell and Sanders. They've got a good core of running backs there, and they've got a great offensive line. So I don't see anyone toppling the Eagles.
You don't think so in the NFC?
No, I
I
don't.
think the Niners have a chance, but
I think they have the closest shot for
but
sure.
we're talking. Okay, so talk about the defense, because if you look at the Niners defense, what are they really good at? They're good at running. They're good at the stopping the run. Something that Hurts has been killing a lot of teams this year with is the run game.
Mhm.
So then you factor Miles Sanders. He's not going to be probably of any help at all if they're good at the run. So it's going to have to be Hurts beating them through the air. That's where I think it's kind of like a toss-up, because Hurts has proved this year he can beat you through the air as well. I kind of see where you're coming from. I kind of like what you're saying. I think I agree with you. I think the Eagles looked so impressed. And you know what? They've looked impressive all year, not just playoff, not at the end of the year. They've looked impressive all year long. The only time they did it was when Hurts was out. So I don't want to I want to try to find a way to disagree with you, but you know what? I can't. I really can't. I mean, there's really no way I can see any team, possibly be. I mean, for granted, the Cowboys maybe have a chance because they've played the Eagles twice already this season, obviously division rivals, but one game was without Jalen Hurts, right? If I'm not mistaken, when the Cowboys
Mhm.
won. So
Mhm.
when they had Hurts back, I mean, it's kind of man, this is a tough one for everyone out there. You're listening to the podcast. Drop us a thing on Twitter. I mean, anywhere. Get a hold of us and let us know what you think on this game, because this is a very tough one. I think the NFC is loaded, and I think the Eagles are going to probably be that team to come out of the NFC. But I think it stops there, because the AFC is where the party's at. You've got Chiefs and Jaguars. Man, kudos to my coach of the year, Doug Peterson, just coming up short. A Jamal Agnew fumble away from possibly beating the Kansas City Chiefs. And wow, Trevor Lawrence, man. I mean, I didn't expect him to be this good right away. I didn't expect the Jags to be this good right away. But the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, ankle injury. It's got to play a factor, right? I mean, it really does going into next week.
Yeah, for sure. As we all know, he his feet is a big part of his game. So I think the Bengals could strike here. There's a little bit of blood in the water, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Bengals come out on top in Kansas City again, just like they did last season. And I think they're going to use that game from last season as extra motivation. Like, hey, we can take these guys down in their home field. We did it last season, got to the Super Bowl, can do it again.
Patrick Mahomes 0-3 against the Bengals. And that's when he was healthy. So a high ankle sprain is something that we've seen players miss weeks with, and he's trying to come back within a week. to play. I think they play on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to pose this question to you. And I know we don't normally ask each other questions like an interview type thing. This is an interview show. But do you think he's ready? A part of me says that he's not going to be 100%. I guarantee you he's not going to be 100%. But do you
I
think
don't
he's
think he's going
actually
to be
ready?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be 100% either, Rudy. I think he's going to try. He's definitely going to try and get out there as best he can. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up tweaking it and having to leave the game.
Yikes. Really?
Yeah. Well, just you know how these ankle things work, man. All it takes is one bad roll up again. And he already looked like like we just said, he's not going to be 100%. And we saw him leave this last game for a little bit. And I mean, you hate to see a guy get hurt, and you don't wish that on anyone. But I mean, this is a physical game. Like guys are going to roll up on each other, land wrong. Mahomes, I feel like he might try to use his feet a lot, even though he's not 100%. And I'm just worried that he's going to re-injure it. You know, he's going to re-aggravate it, and he might have to just leave the game.
Then I mean, is it over? KC doesn't win if you don't have a Mahomes?
Oh
Chad
yeah,
Henne didn't look that bad.
I don't think it's enough. I think Burrow and the Bengals will come away with that victory if Henne has to come in.
Damn, man. And it just doesn't seem like anybody can beat that Bengals team. But before we get into the Bengals talk here, it's Mahomes' injury, man. It came at the absolute worst time of the season. Worst time of the season. Seeing that play, some people were calling it a dirty play. I can't see it being a dirty play. It's a football play, man. It happens. You know, guys are tackling each other, getting pulled down. You know, he just landed at the right time on his ankle. And if you saw that thing, it bent in. Oh, man. I thought he was done for the game. I was surprised that he even came back in that game. But a part of me feels he may not even be ready for this game. I don't know why. After seeing that sprain and after knowing how bad a high ankle sprain goes and how bad it is, it almost tells me there's no way Andy Reid benches him, right? There's no way.
No.
He's gonna play. There's no doubt about it. He's gonna play. He's gonna pull like a Mr. Miyagi, Daniel LaRusso type thing. He's gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I'm still sitting here like, man, that's wicked. That's so wicked that the Chiefs, who contenders, are going to probably be facing, well, not probably, they're going to be facing the Bengals, but with an injured Patrick Mahomes. That's terrible, man. That's terrible for the Chiefs. But nonetheless, hey, Kansas City got it done 27-20. The biggest question that we've got is Patrick Mahomes. Is he going to be ready for the game against Buffalo? It is in Kansas City. It is in Arrowhead. But the Bengals, man, Derek Gervin is pissed off somewhere right now. His Bills were flying high. You know what? It's not how you start the season; it's how you end the season. And the Bengals are on fire right now. I didn't expect them to go into Buffalo and just manhandle the Bills the way that they did. It surprising for you?
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, but I'm a Bills fan too. So that hurt seeing that.
Really? When did you become a Bills fan?
I'm not too vocal about my fandoms, especially on the podcast, but you remember the old Ryan Fitzpatrick days?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's when I started following him.
I would have never known. Like ever. I would have never known. Wow.
Well, but the way I pick my teams, Rudy, is if they really suck, I'll be like, you know what? If this team really sucks, I'll start following. Let's give it a shot. And you know, it took a little while, but one Josh Allen pick later, and their fortune changed.
Wow. I did not know you were a Bills fan. So you're in the right spot. So you're not like Bills from back in the day when it was 4 Super Bowls in a row, you know, couldn't get it done type guy.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got into them when Fitzmagic was their quarterback, and they were really bad back in the day. No real future. But the Bills have a very interesting history. So I did go back and, do some research on like the history of the franchise and just some of those players. And of course, the K gun offense with Kelly and company. So
Jeez, man. And I'm gonna give him props there because there is no way that you'll ever see a team go to 4 straight Super Bowls again. Yeah, they didn't win any, but there's no way that you'll ever see a team go to 4 straight Super Bowls. None. I'm saying it right now. There's no way. That it's a shame that they couldn't win one of those Super Bowls. And if I'm not mistaken, every single Super Bowl they were in, they lost to an NFC East team. It was
yep.
the Cowboys, it's the Commanders now. And was it the Giants? It was the Giants, wasn't it?
Yep, it was the
Yeah.
Giants.
Oh yeah, Parcells and Jeff
Yep.
Hostetler taking over
hmm
for Phil Simms, Scott Norwood,
The famous wide right.
wide right. But they lost to the Cowboys twice. Is that what it was?
They didn't lose to the Cowboys. They got decimated by the Cowboys twice.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah.
And wasn't
Yeah.
the Washington game that was with Mark Rippon and Art Monk and all those guys, if I'm not mistaken?
hmm Yeah, I believe so. But
One of
either
the
way, they stomped the Bills too.
Oh man, not a very good look if you're a Bills fan. Which we
No.
just found out tonight that Stats is a Bills fan.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's rough. And honestly, like it's a loss is bad, but this was especially bad, Rudy, because this was supposed to be. So I'm a huge fan of storylines in sports.
Uh,
Like okay, like there's a big game coming up, but there's something dramatic that happens in the news, and everyone on Earth knows about the Damar Hamlin situation.
yes.
That to me, I was like, that was the storyline fueling the Bills. So like, who on earth is going to stop this team now? Like they are almost like on a mission, like to do this for Damar. And it had all the motivation in the world. I was like, oh my gosh, they have that locker room must be united beyond belief right now. They're flying high, and they kind of just farted today, and it
Yeah.
was really sad. I watched some of that game earlier, and it was just tough to watch. The Bengals like came out there on fire, got a quick 14 points on the board. I was like, man, what's going on here?
It
And the
was
Bills playing at home
bad.
too.
It was bad. It was horribly bad. I didn't expect them to okay, so I didn't completely rule out the Bengals. I just didn't expect them to do that to the Bills. I mean, that defense came to play, man. And that's what I'm thinking now. They're licking their chops at an injured Mahomes. They've got to be. I mean, they know he's not going to be 100%. If you're Hubbard, if you're anybody on that Bengals defense, you're coming hard after Mahomes, really hard after Mahomes. But you're right, man. I mean, the Bills, man, you saw some friction at the end. Stephon Diggs, report has it, Stephon Diggs packed up his shit and walked out of the locker room before a lot of the coaches even got into the locker room. I think it was I can't remember who the report was that went and got him and brought him back into the locker room, and he only was there for a little bit and he took off again. Friction. I mean, I understand you lost on the season. It's terrible, but still got to stay with the team wise. And you brought up Damar Hamlin. I get that part too, but where did that happen? It happened against the Bengals. So, I mean, it goes back to like the whole that game. That game I think meant so much, but more than anything, the Bengals were like they were pissed off. They were already selling tickets to Atlanta, dude. They had
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had sold tickets for Chiefs Bills
Mhm.
before this game was even determined. How do you do that? That makes no effing sense whatsoever. Why would you do that? You're just giving Bengals that much more fuel. Like, what the hell? AFC championship game. Who are you taking, man? It's got Bengals, it's Chiefs.
Man, so if Patty isn't like look good,
Say
we know
Patty's
he's
100%. Say Patty's 100%. We're going to go 100% Patty.
okay. 100% Patty. I'm going Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
100% Patty. Chiefs.
Mhm. If he's 100%, we're going Chiefs. If he's not, I'm going to go Bengals.
I lived in Cincinnati, or near Cincinnati, like 20 minutes from Cincinnati for 2 years. And I'm gonna ride with the Bengals. I'm gonna take the Bengals. They're playing massively good football right now. I think better than the Chiefs are. So I look at the game. Jacksonville was able to, move the ball down on them. And when I look at Jacksonville and you're still in the game, pretty much, the Bengals offense is way better than Jacksonville's. I think we're going to see the Bengals go to their second straight Super Bowl. No way they're going to do the fourth straight, like I said. But I think they get to their second straight Super Bowl. I'm taking the Bengals over the Chiefs, whether Patty is 100% or not. I'm taking the Bengals. So This is going to be fun. Hey, FYI, Brett, missed field goal Mahar hit a 43-yarder right now.
Redemption, dude. Love storylines.
Redemption. Cowboys 12, 49ers 16, 11:03 left in the fourth quarter. This is Sweep the League Stats and Rudy coming to you right now. So we really can't take a guess on who's going to play the Eagles as of this recording right now because they're still playing Cowboys and Niners. Either way, you took the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl. I said possibly, yeah, I will take the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl. So say you have a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl. Which one is better, Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl, Bengals-Eagles Super Bowl? If it happens that way.
Oh, man, I think I'm going to go. I think the better Super Bowl will be Bengals-Eagles.
I like that.
I mean, both are going to be good. I mean, if they do happen. But here's the biggest thing, though. Like right now, the Eagles team just looks unstoppable. Like I'm not sure if, like I don't know if either one of the AFC teams is going to beat them. Like whichever one ends up going to the Super Bowl, I think the Eagles are going to come out on top of the whole thing.
You really have that much faith in the Eagles, right?
I do. And here's the big thing, though, Rudy. So the Bengals, they dropped a bunch of money in the offseason on their O-line.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow, I believe he was tied for third with being sacked the most in the NFL.
Yeah.
That Eagles pass rush and D-line is legit. And I think they're going to get at Burrow a lot. Very similar to that game last season in the Super Bowl where the Rams just kept getting to Burrow.
I will not disagree with you on that at all. No way will I disagree with you on that. Eagles will get to Burrow, but can you really sit here and say that Burrow, who had the opportunity to get it done last year and didn't, is going to really falter if he gets back this time? We're going to get cool Joe Burrow this time. LSU Burrow, I think, in the Super Bowl, if that was to happen. There's no way Burrow loses back-to-back Super Bowls. There's no way. I doubt that he does go lose back-to-back Super Bowls.
It varies.
Yeah, he's gonna. I mean, it's tough, man. Like he's motivated. He's more motivated than ever. You know, and these Bengals are taking last season's loss and they're carrying it with them, and they've got something to fight for. And I'd love to see it happen. I'd love to see Joe Cool bring it home. Finally, the Bengals finally get to lift a Lombardi trophy. They've got, we talked about the Bills losing 4 straight. The Bengals have a history of losing Super Bowls too. Yeah. So it would be nice. It would be nice for them to do it. And like I said, I'm fine with either one of those two teams doing it. And I have no problem with whichever one does come out on top. Actually, any of those three, Eagles, Chiefs, Bengals. I think it would mean more though if the Bengals finally did it,
Yeah, I think I'll pull in for a Bengals Super Bowl win this year. Just, like I said, history with me with Cincinnati, living in Cincinnati for almost 2 years. If the Eagles don't make it and you have a Cowboys or a Niners team in the Super Bowl, that just makes for really good ratings. Eagles probably draw some good ratings, but there's something about a Cowboys team or a Niners team in the Super Bowl. Niners get there and they're against the Bengals. That brings back the old Boomer Esiason, Joe Montana Super Bowl that we saw at one point. If the boys get there against the Bengals, that is, young QB and young QB. I would take the Bengals all day on that one. But then you get a Chiefs Super Bowl. Chiefs, Niners, Chiefs boys. Can you imagine the ratings on a Chiefs Cowboys Super Bowl? That would be
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Man, I mean, Rock is not going to like me for this, but I kind of don't want to see the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
I don't blame
I
you.
know. Yeah, I know. I know. Early on, they were actually my pick to get to the Super Bowl to represent the NFC. But this team looks so vulnerable right now. They don't look that great. Dak he threw a really bad interception in this game. Actually, he's thrown 2 picks, but the second one was especially really bad. Tony Pollard went down in this one too, as we mentioned earlier. They just got a lot of weak spots. A lot of don't get me wrong, they have a lot of talent on the roster, but things just aren't clicking for the Cowboys right now. They are in a funk of some sort. So I think I would much rather either see the Niners or the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And honestly, at this point, I would much rather see the Eagles represent the NFC just because of how well the machine is cooking right now. They just look like they are flying high, all the pun intended. The system's working, the offense is clicking, defense is clicking. And they are just they look like the best team in football right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Huh. Okay. I don't, and you know what? I don't like I wouldn't want a Cowboy Super Bowl either. Just personally, I wouldn't want a Cowboy Super Bowl. But if you do you give them any shot at winning the Super Bowl?
Oh, the Cowboy? No.
None whatsoever.
None. No. Yeah.
You know you're pissing off Cowboy fandom.
I know. Sorry, Cowboys fans.
Not that you care. I don't care.
Blame the team. Don't blame me.
Yeah, it's not our fault they suck and Dak sucks. Dak's not going to be. Dak is not. He's not a Super Bowl QB. I've said it once. I'll say it a million times. He's not a Super Bowl QB. He really isn't. Don't hate me for saying that. Hate him. He's terrible.
Yeah, and it's bad, Rudy, is even if they do come out on top in this Niners game, I still don't have much faith in them. Even if they do move on to face the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm not lying. You're teetering on that line of losing listeners for the show here, which, I mean, if it happens, it happens. I'm sorry, but I don't want to see a Cowboy team in the Super Bowl. Right. Can you understand another 3 weeks of, boys are back and, all of my timeline is all 100% Cowboys this, Cowboys that. Like, oh my God, who gives a shit about the Cowboys? It's like the NBA, man. The NBA, they shove LeBron down our damn mouth in our face. It's like, I don't give, and that's probably the reason why I don't like LeBron anymore. It's because LeBron can have 2 points and that's it. And the Lakers lose by 45 points. They lead off the story. LeBron had only 2 points and the Lakers lose by 45. What's going on with LeBron? Who cares? Who cares about LeBron? It's the exact same thing about the Cowboys. Who gives a rat's ass about the Cowboys? I mean, that's the reason why I really don't want to see them in the Super Bowl, because I'm going to get another 3 weeks of this. I seriously hope the 49ers put them out of their misery tonight. And Cowboy fandom is just done.
Just my Jeez, Rudy.
I'm just saying.
My gosh.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't know what else to say.
I mean, the overexposure is a real thing. Like you just said, you're just tired of seeing LeBron on your screen all the time on Twitter, on social media, because he's all over the place, and you need a break from something. And yeah, the Cowboys, they're all over the place, and you're just tired of seeing them. Overexposure of anything is going to get tiresome, man.
And they call people like me haters. Oh, you're a Cowboy hater. You hate them and you talk about them. Well, I talk about them because I have to talk about them. We do a sports show. I mean, we got to talk about them. But it's not that I'm a hater. I don't mind. I love the players. Michael Parsons is one of my favorite players in the league. I mean, dominant. I haven't seen that guy. I mean, I haven't seen a player like that since, in my opinion, You're talking about what, Lawrence Taylor, one of the greatest of all times. Michael Parsons is up there with me. He's gonna be that good. I love, I love the guys that they have. Diggs, well, he grew on me too. The defense, I like players they have there. I just hate the fact that they are, they could have been 0-17 this year, and somewhere they're going to be on Sports Center. Oh, the Eagles and the Giants are playing, well, the Cowboys are probably at home watching this game. They're going to get a mention somewhere. And it's like, who cares about that? I really don't care. So, yes, for my sake and my sake only, please, the Niners, just win the game. So that way the season can be over and I can start hearing about how much, Brett Maher is, enemy number one, and Dak Prescott had 2 interceptions and he's trash after he had one of the greatest playoff performances last week by a quarterback. But then this week, if they lose, you need to trade Dak. He's not the quarterback of the future. He's not going to do the Super Bowl. Something I've said for many years already. He's not the quarterback that's going to lead you to Super Bowl. He's Tony Romo at best. Tony Romo didn't win a Super Bowl. And it's like, it just doesn't work, man. So yes, Niners, do me a favor. Get them the hell out of here. This is Sweep the League. My opinion, obviously, is probably pissing everybody off, but who cares? This is Sweep the League. It's Stats. It's Rudy. Real quick before we end up going, because we're making this a short show, we're going to talk a little bit of NBA here. And 2 things happened. The other night, and we're going to get into the Dejounte Murray talk here, but 2 things happened. The Dejounte Murray talk, which he was talking to Steven Jackson, and people say he got it through the Spurs under the bus. He was, throwing shade at the Spurs, Tony Parker, yada, yada, which he did in a way, but he's just speaking the truth. But the other thing that happened was Lakers and Grizzlies. Shannon Sharpe decides to talk shit to Dylan Brooks and cause a little ruckus. Steven Adams gets in there. Morant, John Morant's dad, is involved, talking stuff back. What did you happen to see any of that?
No, what happened?
You didn't see that? Okay, so
no.
So Shannon Sharpe is attending the Lakers game against the Grizzlies, and I don't know what's being said at all, but apparently he's, talking S to Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is talking S back to him. Shannon Sharpe stands up and tells Dylan Brooks, come over here and tell me to my face. Steven Adams comes over, starts talking to Shannon Sharpe, John Morant. A lot of the Grizzlies start coming towards Shannon Sharpe. Security's backing him off. Morant is there on the floor, courtside, basically. He gets up, starts jawing with Shannon Sharpe. Security has to escort Shannon Sharpe off to, I guess, the hallway where the locker rooms are. They're trying to calm him down. You gotta see the video. It's everywhere. It's crazy. But basically, it's just heckling. It's just stuff like that. So Shannon Sharpe, and then I think that evening they interviewed Dylan Brooks, and he basically called Shannon Sharpe just another pedestrian. It doesn't really matter. That's gonna be the whole thing for Sweep the League now. For people that we have problems with, they're just pedestrians. They don't mean anything to anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you've got a lame ass podcast somewhere on Facebook, or if you've got a lame ass sports show, or you think sports or whatever, and you talk about it because you're cool. I don't care. They're all pedestrians when it comes to me and everybody here on the show. Nonetheless, he got called a pedestrian. But where does it stop, dude? Where does it stop when it comes to interaction with fans? And Shannon Sharpe's a fan. He may not have paid for a ticket, but he's in the fan seats. Where does it stop? And players are more involved with fan interaction. Back in the day, you had the baseline bumps throw guacamole on Larry Brown, head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, on Larry Brown. So you had guys back in the day that would cuss out players, literally talk about players left and right. Players heard it, but they didn't let it bother them. Who cares? Now it's like, well, you got to respect the players. You got to respect the players. You got to respect the players. Okay. It's the years of social media, man. Players have a voice in social media now. Now they take it to the fans on the court. They're protected. That's why. If I guarantee you, if you talked S about Kevin Durant, would do you think Kevin Durant would say, if he ever did say, meet me at my hotel parking lot, do you really think anything would happen? Do you think he'd even show up?
No.
You don't think he would at all?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at. It's like, if I want to go to a game and talk shit, I'm going to talk shit. Who cares? What are you going to do? You're going to get me thrown out of the game. Big deal. You'll never fight me. Kevin Durant want to talk shit to me? Fine. Let's go in the parking lot. Let's handle like men. He won't do that. But where does it stop? You tell me, where does fan interaction stop? When has it gone too far?
I think if there's like, man, of course, derogatory terms, just it's constant, maybe just constant distracting, very disturbances, or if, and of course, obviously, physicality. If you guy goes up on the floor and, starts messing with you can't do that either. I mean, there has to be a line in the sand there between fans and players. But I mean, fans are going to be there to heckle too. Like, it's okay. Like cheer.
It's
boo.
a part of the game, right?
Exactly. It's part of the game. Yeah.
So are we supposed to go to a game and sit there like little church boys and girls and just clap when they do good and boo when the other team scores? This isn't the movie Hoosiers. Like, this isn't old school shit. People are going to heckle. In today's world, people are not afraid of the law. So they're going to heckle you. They don't give a damn if they get banned from the arena because they'll go straight to social media and do it there. So I get it. And that's my problem is like, as a player, I get if I'm a player and a fan says, you know what, I'm going to bang your mom tonight. That's different. If you're talking about family, I don't care who you are. Family's family. Yeah. You don't go that far. That is totally different. But if I'm a player and say you're the fan and you're telling me, you're throwing up all these bricks, you don't know how to, you're playing like shit. Why does that bother me? Why is Kevin Durant or anybody of that nature just like, why does it bother me? You suck. I could make more threes. I can make my free throws. It's part of the damn game. It's heckling. And that's where I don't get. We have so many fan interactions. And you know what? It's only in the NBA, really. In the NBA, it's the only time it happens. You got Russell Westbrook as a primary example. He wants to fight everybody. I mean, you can, hey, Russell, you look like, what is that turtle, that cartoon turtle that people say on Nickelodeon? I don't know. I got to look it up. I forgot what it was, but you can make fun of Russell Westbrook and he's going to get pissed off. Like, it's part of the game, dude. Really, it's part of the game. That's what happened at the Lakers game. So you need to look it up. You need to look it up, Shannon Sharpe shit, because that was crazy. That was funny too. Shannon Sharpe looked like he was wearing, I think he was wearing like a cardigan sweater. This is what it was, like preppy sweater. And I'm thinking like, this guy is really going to get into a fight in his Dooney and Burke, Brooks Brothers type clothing here. So
I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're really like, you're really going to fight somebody in your Brooks Brothers clothes and all that. Hey, by all means, go for it. But Shannon Sharpe he's pretty built. Ain't no way that a lot of those guys are going to be able to take Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah, I agree. Although it was pretty funny seeing Steven Adams be the first one to approach him. And I was like, oh boy. Like the size difference.
Exactly. Like Steven Adams. And Steven Adams is one of the tougher guys in the league, but he's also one of the nicest guys in the league. So it's kind of like, well, again, is he really going to fight him? I don't know.
I wouldn't want to get in a fight with Aquaman, though.
No. Who's tougher,
Yeah.
Steven Adams or Momoa? Who do you think is tougher? They both look the same.
They do. They're both really nice guys, too. It's kind of funny how similar they are.
Jeez, man. Well,
I don't know if they would actually fight. They're just too nice to each other, you know?
probably do thumb war or something.
Yeah,
Rock, paper,
rock, paper,
scissors.
scissors.
Oh my god. Last thing we're gonna get into, man, is the Dejounte Murray talk. So basically, he went on the Up and Smoke podcast with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, and he basically was talking about how the Spurs they didn't want him doing. I don't want to play the whole interview. I'm kind of paraphrasing it as best as I can. So basically, Tony when Pop and the coaching staff and everybody brought him and Tony in and told Tony, you know what, you're going to take a back seat to Dejounte. He's going to take over the point guard duties and lead the team. It was kind of like Tony was like, F y'all, I'm going to Charlotte. Which in a player's world, in a player's mind, if you feel you can play and a team wants you and you're a free agent, and they're going to say, hey, you can more than likely be the starter here, but you're going to get majority minutes. Let's not forget, at the time, Charlotte, James Borrego, former assistant coach for the Spurs, was a head coach there. So if you're a player and you're going to get more playing time somewhere else, you want to take that. So for my part is, Dejounte came out and said, he bailed on me. He didn't mentor me the way he should have, basically. He should have stayed around and mentored me. But when he found out he wasn't going to start anymore, he left. Why does that bother you? You want to play as a player. If you didn't, you'd be Jack Haley just riding the pine and collecting rings. But, you want to play. That part of the conversation, that part right there, we're going to go into another one, but that part, how does that make you feel in that? Because for me, it kind of pisses me off. Like, you want to blame the organization and Tony Parker for not mentoring you, for not being that mentor for you. Who gives a shit? Parker wants to play. I'm sorry, I'm old school, but I'll have mentors and they'll mentor me as long as they're there. If they don't want to be there, no worries. No worries. Brett Favre never mentored Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers turned out fine. Who gives a damn? But for you, is it right or wrong for Dejounte to say that about Tony?
Yeah, it just sounds petty. Honestly, it really does.
It's really petty. A lot.
It is. I mean, and TP had a chance to go get paid more money too. Why not? Why not jump at the chance to get a little more money and go start for another team? Guy wants to start. That's his decision. It just sounds petty for Dejounte. I mean, he ended up getting the job anyway, and he was very well liked by the Spurs fans. And to me, like, what's the point now? He's not on the Spurs anymore. They're past this. He's already a Hawk.
That's my point too. Why does it bother you now? And it's Steven Jackson is a part of it. So Steven Jackson hates the Spurs too. For whatever reason, he got a ring with the Spurs, but Steven Jackson hates the Spurs. He's always talking shit about the Spurs all the time. Talking about Manu, talking about, everybody else. And Dejounte even brought that up. Like, well, they had Tony Parker and an Argentina point guard ahead of me, which I can't remember the guard that was ahead of him, but he was from Argentina. He was a point guard.
Was it Nando De Colo?
No, it was not Nando. Okay. As we're talking, I'm gonna look it up. But the thing was, you were a young kid in the league coming in. Did you really expect to play early in your career? Pop never plays rookies. Playing Jeremy Sohan is like shit. How would you say it? I don't know. Well, I mean, what kind of pettiness is this? Give me an example if you can.
Man, ever since he signed with the Hawks, he's just been we've seen a different side of DJ. He seems more, I don't know, maybe he was always like this and now he's like venting and getting all this out. It doesn't make him look good. I understand, getting your experiences out, how you felt when you were with a different team on a podcast, but at the same time, the problem is DJ is, his attitude has changed. People's opinions of him have changed because of the stuff that he said. And a lot of the stuff that he's done and said just comes across as pettiness and immaturity. And I think that's the biggest problem. It's so unnecessary. He should be focusing on winning with his team right now. And the Hawks aren't doing that great, you know? They should be playing better. They should be doing better. And I think it would help the team in the locker room if you focused more on that. And I know they already have some drama going on with Trae Young, and that's a whole other thing.
He doesn't want to be there anymore. Yeah. And they're about to trade John Collins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I mean, go ahead.
I'm going to read you the comments. These are the ones that we're going to get that I wanted to talk about. So I found them. So he said they bring it up. This is quote unquote from Dejounte. This is all in the you can go check out the podcast that they have. They bring in a point guard from Argentina who's close with Manu, and they play him in front of me, and not behind Tony and Patty. But they playing these mind games. They want you to break yourself. This is too much. What they put me through, I don't understand. The point guard he was referring to from Argentina was Nicholas Laprevitola. So they played him ahead of Dejounte. He says Dejounte Murray went on to comment about how he felt disrespected by the San Antonio Spurs. I feel like they drafted me, but me coming from the hood, smoking and drinking and articles about fighting was ruining their reputation and what they stand for as the Spurs. I think that's what they thought, but they never said that. The second year was the one I took the job from Tony. Pop brought us into the office and told Tony, but he ain't liked it. If he liked it, he would have mentored me the way he should have. He wouldn't have gone to Charlotte. He would have stayed right there. Those are the comments. And you're right. To me, when I talked to a couple of people, you know, who cover the Spurs, and, you know, they kind of asked me about it, and I told them, I said, to me, the year's not going great in Atlanta. I mean, yeah, they're technically in the playoff hunt right now, but it's like, I don't know what brings this on. You're not even a part of the Spurs team. It's kind of like you want to ruin their reputation for the way they handle things. You just didn't work out here, man. Big deal. Like, it's okay. It happens.
Yeah. It's pettiness. It's immaturity, pettiness. He's just not moving forward. And the thing is, like, maturity, you witnessing people as they progress and move forward, not hold grudges, not think about like negativity from the past, but it's about looking ahead and building yourself up and focusing on the team effort, giving your teammates all sorts of, you know, motivation and leading by example. Like, all DJ has to do is be quiet, play well, and support his teammates. And I feel like this unnecessary comment about a team that he's no longer with doesn't help anything, doesn't help the culture and the locker room or anything on the floor. So I'm not really sure what it's this immaturity just reeks right now. And it's unfortunate. DJ's a talented player. Like you said, things just didn't work out in San Antonio. Move on. And, you know, the fact that he hasn't moved on, I think, unfortunately, it shows. Like, he's still like a young guy, but he's got to grow up fast, man. Like, and all of this drama, all this digging up, and, you know, even the comment like, oh, they didn't like me because I was from the streets, I was fighting. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, like, really, like, who cares?
But they drafted you.
Exactly.
They saw something in you. They drafted you. I mean, everybody knew Tony Parker's days were numbered. They brought you in to take over that spot, to be that leader. They saw something in you. And then come to find out, you know, people were on Instagram, you know, bashing him and everything. And he goes back at him, well, I'm just telling you the truth, basically. But who cares? Like, for real. Is this something... So the one thing I want to ask you before we go is this, and I wanted to ask you because it made me think about it when I was, you know, trying to get all the prep work for the show, was this. It's like, is he trying to get something exposed ahead of something? If that makes any sense. Is something... because it did question. It had some people questioning the Spurs, which I'm not going to lie to you. People have questioned the Spurs lately. They have. You got a lot of Austin companies that are coming in and buying stocks in the Spurs and being sponsors. So the question is whether they're going to be in town. Second of all, the whole Primo thing. It questioned the integrity of the Spurs, that Primo thing. They still haven't really fired anybody over it, but they got rid of Primo. Now Dejounte is coming out with this. Is there something bigger that people are not seeing with the Spurs? And it's something I know you don't have the answers. Nobody does. But it made me think about it. Like, why is all this coming out this year? You know, I feel like there's something that people are missing.
Yeah, and like the Spurs have had this like squeaky clean reputation for like years, for decades. They've always been seen as like, the golden child of the NBA, like no problems, can do no wrong. I think every organization's got some problems of sorts. But I think with the DJ situation, this is just pettiness and immaturity coming out. At least as far as that's my take on the DJ stuff. I mean, like really just, I don't know, the way it comes across, it doesn't sound like necessary at all. It just sounds like the second he moved on, he was perfectly fine with just, letting little jabs out. And
yeah, he did.
Yeah, the second he moved on, he was like, oh, you know what? The Spurs, this, and then the little things, but he kept dropping them, He kept saying stuff and saying little things again and again, and now this, and it's like, dude, just move on, move forward. I mean, there probably is maybe a little bit, like I said, no organization's perfect.
You got to remember the Kawhi thing too, the whole thing with Kawhi. Yeah. But Kawhi was kind of different.
Yeah, and I think the DJ thing was different too. I think it's just DJ being petty in that situation. Though the Primo situation's pretty different. I know there's still stuff going on as far as like, what actually, conclusions and such, because that's still a little bit murky. But I don't think there really is anything bigger going on with the Spurs. No. I don't think so.
And I trust you on that because it made me question, like, is there something that we're not seeing? Primo thing, the Kawhi thing a few years back, but that was more of Kawhi wanting to leave. But the Primo thing has been kind of making me question, like, was there something big going on? Now the Dejounte coming out stuff, I think it's more pettiness, like you said. I will agree with you on that. But like we're telling Dejounte to move on, we're going to move on. What we're doing is we're moving on to next week's episode. This has been Sweep the League. We talked NFL, man. It was great talking NFL. We normally get into life hacks, but we like to do that when we get the whole staff with us back. So as for right now, the Cowboys are still in it with 17 seconds left. They've got to score a touchdown, but they've also got to go, like, I think 75 yards. So I doubt it happens, which means, hooray, the Niners are probably going to win, barring any type of miracle, which are probably going to happen now that I said it. We should have everybody back next week. But anyway, I want to get into all this talk again. Before we do go, I want to be able to let everybody know we got Daniel Kelly from First Round Mock, and his writer is going to come on. We're going to start talking a lot of NFL draft stuff. I'm going to be dropping some episodes. Stats is going to help produce them from time to time. I'm going to try to produce them from time to time. We're going to be dropping a lot of little spotlight episodes with these guys. They're going to give us some really good NFL prospects here. We've got a lot of guests lined up. We've got tons of stuff coming to you this year. Credit Stats on a lot of it too. He gets everything ready for Sweep the League, and he does a fantastic job. So we thank you very, very much. Shamaya as well. Shamaya does a lot of stuff for it too. Everybody does good. We're going to be back full strength here pretty soon because I believe the Cowboy season is almost over. Fingers crossed. But for Stats, for everybody else on Sweep the League, Candace, Derek, Shamaya, and The Rock, this is Rudy Compensation. Until we sweep the league again next week, we'll see y'all then.
Oh, yeah.